You were not born misreading the world that you were trained to from childhood. You were handed a lens that framed cooperation as default, honesty as virtue, and emotional expression as proof of integrity. That lens worked when environments were small, slow, and personal. It is lethal now. By 2028, the terrain rewards concealment, not confession. You are not failing because you are weak. You are failing because your perception is outdated. This chapter ruptures that lens. The modern environment is not moral. It is selective. It does not ask who deserves to win. It measures who leaks the least. Every system you move through, corporate hierarchies, relationships, negotiations, social platforms, functions like a competitive arena disguised as a community. Rules are unwritten, enforcement is quiet, and penalties arrive late. Emotional men mistake politeness for safety and clarity for trust. The system records their signals and reallocates power elsewhere. Emotion is not strength here. Emotion is telemetry. When you react quickly, you broadcast urgency. When you explain yourself, you reveal thresholds. When you seek fairness, you announce dependency on consensus. None of this makes you good. It makes you readable. Readability is the currency predators use to price you. They don't need to outthink you. They need you to keep talking. The rigged lens taught you that visibility builds trust. In reality, visibility builds targets. In war, soldiers mask movement. In surgery, the scalpel does not announce intention. In power, silence preserves optionality. The men who rise are not kinder or smarter. They are quieter. They move after others expose themselves. They wait for reactions, then diagnose. You are also taught that loyalty is sacred. In competitive systems, loyalty is conditional. It flows toward advantage, not virtue. Emotional men treat loyalty as a bond. Strategic men treat it as a contract. Contracts are enforced by leverage. Bonds dissolve when conditions change. This is not cynicism. It is pattern recognition. The lens you inherited frames disagreement as conflict and conflict as danger. So you smooth edges, clarify motives, and perform transparency to keep the peace. That performance empties your pockets. Every clarification is a concession. Every apology is a downshift. Every public emotion is a note taken by someone quieter. Understand this. The environment does not punish emotion directly. It rewards those who let others display it first. By 2028, asymmetry accelerates. Information moves faster than consequences. Screens compress distance. Observers multiply. Your reactions travel farther than your intentions. Emotional men live externally. Power lives internally. When your inner state spills outward, you forfeit control of timing. Timing is everything. This chapter is not asking you to become cruel. It is asking you to become accurate. Accuracy means abandoning the fantasy of equal rules. Accuracy means accepting that selection is constant and silent. Accuracy means recognizing that composure is not suppression, it is containment. A sealed system resists extraction. An open system gets mined. You don't need a new personality. You need a new operating lens. From this point forward, stop interpreting the world as cooperative by default. Assume competition until proven otherwise. Not because everyone is malicious, but because everyone is incentivized. Incentives shape behavior more reliably than character. Men who understand incentives speak less, wait longer, and reveal nothing until the price is set. This lens shift does one thing psychologically. It moves you from participant to observer. Participants react. Observers position. Participants seek harmony. Observers secure advantage. Participants explain losses. Observers prevent them. You are not late. You are just now seeing clearly. The lens was rigged. Now you take it off. Every emotion you display is a transmission, not a feeling data. You were taught that emotions are internal truths meant to be shared. In competitive environments, they are signals intercepted and decoded. The moment you externalize emotion, you surrender informational control. You don't lose because others are smarter. You lose because you keep exporting your internal state in real time. This chapter installs the core mechanism. Emotions create leverage. For whoever sees them first, consider how predators actually hunt now. Not with force, with patience. They observe response times, tonal shifts, posture changes, micro hesitations. They track what excites you, What angers you? What makes you defensive? They don't confront, they archive. While you believe you're being authentic, they're building a profile. Urgency is the loudest leak. When you respond instantly, you announce need. Need compresses your negotiating space. The man who can wait dictates terms, because time becomes pressure for the one who can't. Emotional men rush to relieve discomfort. Strategic men let discomfort mature into advantage. Explanation is the second leak. When you justify, you reveal your boundaries. You show how far you can be pushed before you fold. Every explanation contains an admission. This matters to me. Predators don't argue your logic. They store your pressure points and return later with precision. Validation seeking is the third leak. Approval is a currency you don't control once you crave it. The moment you seek affirmation, you accept external governance. Others now decide when you feel settled. That dependency makes you predictable. Predictability makes you cheap. Even positive emotion betrays you. Excitement reveals intent. Enthusiasm exposes priorities. Passion announces where leverage will hurt most. You think joy makes you magnetic. It makes you measurable. Here is the inversion you were never told. Emotional restraint is not repression. It is insulation. You don't eliminate feeling. You delay disclosure. Delay forces others to act without your data. Acting blind produces mistakes. Mistakes create openings. Silence amplifies this effect. Silence creates a vacuum. Vacuums pull information outward. When you don't react, others overcompensate. They explain. They justify. They reveal. Your stillness becomes a diagnostic tool. You are no longer broadcasting. You are scanning. The emotional leak also explains why so many men lose in relationships. Hierarchies and deals simultaneously. They lead with transparency, hoping to be met halfway. Halfway never comes. The one who reveals first loses leverage by definition. The other side simply adjusts. By 2028, environments will be less forgiving. Screens preserve reactions. Algorithms reward exposure. Attention economies punish restraint. Emotional men confuse expression with power. Power is containment. Power is deciding when and if something leaves you. This chapter achieves one psychological shift. You stop treating emotions as expressions and start treating them as assets. Assets are protected, deployed selectively, and never given away for free. From here on, you assume every reaction is a cost. You pay only when it benefits you. Everything else stays internal, sealed, and silent. That is how the leak closes. By 2028, society will not punish weakness openly. It will select against it silently. This chapter isolates the recurring male archetypes that consistently lose power, not because they are immoral, but because their behavioral patterns broadcast exploitable signals. You are not judged by intention. You are filtered by pattern. Archetype 1, the confessor. This man believes vulnerability builds trust. He shares early, explains often, and empties himself to feel understood. In reality, he trains others to manage him. Once his emotional map is visible, decisions are made around him, not with him. He is consulted, never obeyed. Trusted, never chosen. Archetype 2, the reactor. This man responds instantly to messages, criticism, disrespect. He mistakes speed for strength, but reaction hands initiative to whoever provoked it. By moving first, he surrenders positional advantage. The reactor lives in other people's tempo. Tempo ownership is power ownership. He has neither. Archetype 3, the moral performer. This man signals virtue instead of authority. He explains why he's right, fair, ethical. He believes morality enforces outcomes. It doesn't. It only attracts manipulation from those who use ethics as camouflage. He is exploited, then shamed for resisting exploitation. Archetype 4, the pleaser strategist. He believes harmony is influence. He avoids tension, negotiates himself down, sacrifices leverage to preserve comfort. Others sense it immediately. Once detected, his concessions are no longer appreciated, they are expected. He becomes a resource, not a rival. Archetype 5, the emotional romantic. He leads with intensity. Attachment, devotion. He reveals stakes too early. This makes him controllable. The one who cares more loses first. Always, affection becomes a leash when unguarded. His loyalty is weaponized against him. These archetypes share one flaw: they externalize internal states. They export emotion. Before securing position, contrast this with the archetype that survives, the sovereign observer. He speaks last. He reacts slowly. He withholds justification. His silence forces projection. Others reveal themselves trying to decode him. He does not rush clarity. He benefits from ambiguity. His emotional economy is closed. Nothing leaves without intent. This man is not cold by accident. He is cold by design. Selection doesn't reward kindness. It rewards containment. Systems elevate those who create uncertainty in others while maintaining internal order themselves. The sovereign observer is difficult to read, hard to provoke, expensive to pressure. He is not loved, but he is respected. And respect compounds. By identifying these archetypes, this chapter performs a surgical task. It forces you to recognize which pattern you've been running unconsciously, not as a personality but as a liability. You are not condemned for fitting one of these roles, but you are responsible for remaining in it. From here on, emotional behavior is no longer innocent. It is strategic failure unless proven otherwise. You stop asking, "Is this honest?" and start asking, "Does this increase or decrease my leverage?" Because by 2028, selection will be invisible. No confrontation, no explanation. Just doors closing quietly while others advance. By 2028, your losses will not come from villains. They will come from systems that don't care how you feel. This chapter deepens the threat by exposing a hard truth most men refuse to accept. You are not being targeted, you are being filtered. Emotional men don't get attacked. They get bypassed, quietly, efficiently, permanently. Modern systems, corporate, social, relational, digital, are built to reward predictability and penalize volatility. Emotion is volatility. Every visible reaction you display becomes usable data. Algorithms learn you. Institutions classify you. People map you. None of this is personal. It's mechanical. Historically, emotional restraint was a survival trait. War generals didn't scream. Kings didn't explain. Judges didn't emote. Not because they were cruel, but because authority collapses when emotional leakage occurs. Once your internal state is observable, your decisions become predictable. Predictability invites exploitation. In earlier eras, emotional men were protected by tight communities, family, tribe, religion. Those buffers are gone. What remains is competition without mercy and exposure without insulation. You are now evaluated constantly, silently, and at scale. Look at power. Today, executives don't rise by passion, they rise by calm under pressure. Negotiators don't win by empathy, they win by silence and timing. Leaders don't dominate by force, they dominate by uncertainty. The emotional man believes expression earns connection. The system interprets expression as instability. Socially, emotional men overshare. They reveal stakes too early. This flips leverage. The less invested party controls pacing, boundaries, outcomes. You don't need malice to exploit this, only patience. By 2028, patience will be the deadliest trait in the room. Digitally, emotional behavior is tracked, scored, and modeled. Your outrage feeds algorithms. Your validation-seeking trains platforms. Your impulsive reactions reduce your visibility, influence, and optionality. You think you're expressing yourself. The system is indexing you. Relationally, emotional men confuse attachment with power. They escalate commitment faster than value. This creates imbalance. The one with more emotional exposure always negotiates from a weaker position. Love doesn't protect you here. It disarms you. Historically, Machiavelli warned that being loved is unstable, but being respected is reliable. By 2028, this principle becomes unavoidable. Respect comes from consistency, restraint, and controlled unpredictability. Love without leverage collapses under pressure. Here's the deeper danger. Emotional men defend their behavior morally. They say, "At least I'm real." The system replies, "Irrelevant." Authenticity does not equal sovereignty. Honesty does not equal safety. Transparency does not equal power. Human nature hasn't changed. Context has. The environment now amplifies consequences. Small emotional mistakes compound into irreversible outcomes. One outburst closes 10 doors. One confession redefines your position forever. This chapter forces a reframe. You are not losing because you are. Emotionally, you are losing because emotion is unmanaged in an environment that punishes leakage. Predators don't need to be cruel. They only need to wait. By understanding this, fear sharpens into clarity. This isn't about becoming heartless. It's about becoming unreadable. You don't suppress emotion, you subordinate it. From this point forward, emotion is treated like ammunition. You don't fire it to feel relief. You fire it only when it changes the battlefield. The threat is not coming. It's already operational. Power in 2028 does not come from action. It comes from withholding action until the environment bends first. This chapter installs the behavioral shift that separates survivors from losses. Controlled delay, selective silence, and disciplined ambiguity. You are not becoming passive. You are becoming unreadable. Emotional men react in real time. That is their fatal flaw. Reaction collapses optionality. The moment you respond quickly, defending, explaining, correcting, you surrender tempo. Tempo is power. Whoever controls timing controls outcomes. Strategic men move last. Silence is not absence. Silence is pressure. When you don't respond immediately, you force others to reveal themselves. They fill the vacuum with assumptions, explanations, concessions. The emotional man rushes to resolve tension. The sovereign lets tension work for him. By 2028, speed will be mistaken for competence. Do not fall for this trap. Speed benefits the observer, not the actor. Delay benefits the one who can tolerate discomfort. Most cannot. That's why delay is a weapon. Begin with speech discipline. Say less than necessary. End statements early. Never volunteer context. Every extra sentence is a leak. Every clarification is a gift. You are not here to be understood. You are here to remain in control. Precision beats expression. Ambiguity beats honesty when stakes are high. Next, emotional access control. Not everyone earns proximity. Emotional men give access by default. Strategic men gate it. You decide who sees frustration, enthusiasm, uncertainty. Everyone else gets neutrality. Neutrality terrifies manipulators. They rely on feedback. When you give none, their tactics collapse. They escalate, probe, test. Each test gives you data while you give them nothing. This asymmetry is decisive. Timing becomes your primary tool. You do not answer messages instantly. You do not resolve conflicts immediately. You do not commit when pressured. Pressure exists to rush you into disadvantage. When urgency appears, slow down. The rule is simple. Never make decisions while emotionally activated. Emotion narrows perception. Narrow perception produces irreversible mistakes. Strategic withholding buys clarity. Clarity restores leverage. Observe how powerful figures behave. They pause before answering. They deflect without explaining. They say I'll consider it and mean nothing by it. This isn't politeness. It's positioning. You are training others how to treat you if you always respond. You are accessible. If you always explain. You are debatable. If you always empathize. You are manageable. Strategic withholding rewires this dynamic. People begin to self-edit around you. They choose words carefully. They offer more to get less. You haven't become aggressive, you've become expensive. This chapter also installs emotional budgeting. You don't spend energy everywhere. You pick arenas. Most situations don't deserve reaction. Most provocations are bait. The emotional man bites. The strategist catalogs. Nothing drains power faster than unnecessary engagement. By now, a discomfort should be rising. Good. That discomfort is withdrawal from emotional addiction. Expression felt like relief. Restraint feels like tension. But tension is stored power. You are not suppressing emotion. You are converting it into strategic fuel. When you finally speak, it lands heavier. When you finally act, it shifts dynamics. When you finally commit, it's irreversible. This is how dominance actually forms, not through force, but through scarcity. The world is loud. You become quiet. And in that quiet, others reveal everything you need to know. You cannot upgrade while carrying the old self. This chapter ends that illusion. The emotional identity you inherited was not accidental. It was engineered by parents, institutions, culture to make you predictable, cooperative, and safe to extract from. Approval seeking wasn't kindness. It was conditioning. By 2028, that identity becomes a liability. Here, you execute it. Identity death is not symbolic. It is behavioral. You stop performing for reactions. You stop narrating your intentions. You stop seeking alignment before acting. The need to be understood dies first. Without that need, manipulation loses its entry point. Most men think power is something you add. Power is something you remove. Remove emotional transparency. Remove reflexive honesty. Remove the urge to explain yourself to people who haven't earned context. The old identity believed morality protected it. It believed effort would be noticed. It believed loyalty would be returned. Those beliefs were survival myths for a simpler environment. In the current selection pressure, they get you replaced. The new identity is built on sovereignty. Sovereignty begins internally. You no longer outsource self-worth to reactions. Praise doesn't inflate you. Criticism doesn't destabilize you. This emotional neutrality isn't coldness, it's independence. When others cannot move you, they cannot control you. Next comes composure under threat. Emotional men collapse when challenged. They justify, escalate, or retreat. Sovereign men hold posture. They neither rush nor appease. They let discomfort sit. This is dominance at the nervous system level. You are no longer reactive flesh. You are structure. Your values also change. Fairness is replaced with leverage. Intentions are replaced with outcomes. Being good is replaced with being effective. This is not corruption, it is alignment with reality. Reality does not reward virtue. Reality rewards position. The old identity wanted to be like. The new identity requires only respect and can operate without even that. This is where isolation often appears. When you stop performing, some people withdraw. Let them. They were attached to access, not you. Selection clarifies your circle automatically. You will speak less, reveal less, trust slower, and paradoxically, you will be taken more seriously. Identity replacement completes when your behavior no longer seeks validation under stress. When pressure rises and you stay composed, the transformation locks in. Others feel it before they understand it. They adjust around you. This is the moment you stop being managed by environments and start shaping them. One warning: you cannot half-execute this identity. Partial detachment looks erratic. Either remain emotional or fully sovereign. By 2028, the line is drawn. The old self must die cleanly, not socially, because what comes next is not on one side are men rejected who learned restraint, opacity, timing, and emotional discipline. On the other are men who remained expressive, sincere, explainable. The first group moves resources. The second becomes resources. This chapter is not a conclusion. It is a warning. The environment ahead does not punish weakness loudly. It erases it quietly. Emotional men don't collapse in dramatic failures. They fade into irrelevance. They lose influence. First, then leverage, then optionality, finally dignity. You will see it everywhere. In negotiations, the calm man sets terms while the emotional man reveals urgency. In relationships, the restrained man maintains mystery while the expressive man overinvests. In hierarchies, the silent man is consulted while the reactive man is managed. No one announces the selection. It simply happens. The final illusion to destroy is that intelligence alone protects you. It doesn't. Emotional leakage overrides IQ. You can be brilliant and still transparent, and transparency is fatal in competitive systems. By 2028, systems are optimized to extract from predictability. Algorithms, institutions, and people all benefit when you react the same way every time. Emotional men are stable patterns. Stable patterns are easy to exploit. Cold men are volatile assets. They are avoided or respected. This is why silence becomes dangerous. Why composure reads as authority. Why ambiguity triggers caution in others. Humans evolved to fear what they cannot read. When your internal state is inaccessible, you create psychological distance. Distance creates leverage. Most men never cross this line because it feels unnatural. It violates conditioning. They fear becoming someone else. They fear moral loss. But morality that costs you sovereignty is decoration, not principle. The elite don't announce their values. They enforce boundaries. They don't ask permission. They don't explain losses. They don't beg for understanding. They let outcomes speak. This is the final behavioral shift. You stop playing to be included. You start positioning to be unavoidable. By now, you understand the cost of ignoring this. You've seen emotional men lose negotiations they should have won. You've seen honest men discarded after loyalty. You've seen expressive men ridiculed once leverage shifted. That wasn't bad luck. That was selection doing its work. The 2028 line separates those who adapt early from those who rationalize late. Late adapters don't get mercy. They get lessons paid in reputation, time, and control. This is not about becoming cruel. It is about becoming unreadable. Not hostile, unexploitable. If you take nothing else, take this. Your emotions are no longer private feelings. They are strategic signals. Every reaction trains the environment how to treat you. Train it wrong, and it will use you. Cross the line now before circumstances force you to. Before loss becomes the teacher. Before silence is imposed instead of chosen. Because after 2028, no one outsmarts you by accident, only by permission. And permission is the one thing a sovereign man never gives.